So I'm here in the Emergency Operations Center for Ebola Control in Liberia, and I'm together with my colleague here, Musa Kafala. And you are the best Ebola hunters, because today you got the task to lead the contact tracing here in Monrovia.
Yes, sir.
So tell us, why is it difficult to follow the contacts?
It is difficult to follow the contact for a couple of reasons. The first and foremost is the issue of trust. Trust in the contact tracers. There is a growing distrust in us as tracers, and it's due to one, sometimes we don't get food to them in time. Also, there's an issue of our non-Ebola health services is not developed just in case they are non-Ebola. How do they get the best treatment?
That means if they have malaria,
Yes.
and they have pneumonia or
Yes.
other sorts of diarrhea, they can't find any treatment.
Exactly. Since Ebola, our healthcare system actually collapsed on the weight of the emergency, and so they don't have an alternative to go. And so they see their relative go before, and they don't have alternative, and so they are distrustful. Why should they tell us? And they don't have an alternative. And the third thing is that it's the issue of feedback. They have seen a relative go to ETUs and maybe die, but they did not have the feedback in a timely fashion.
And ETU is the abbreviation for the Ebola Treatment Unit. That is the hospitals, or tent hospitals, especially for Ebola.
Yes, Dr.
Yeah, but I'm impressed with you have, is it 8 monitors you have now?
Yes.
Who supervise this,
Yes.
you know? They are really wise. When I've been in the morning meetings, they understand all the dynamics and the realities of people, some of which are very poor.
Yeah.
You know? So when you now become in charge of this, what is the most important? I know that you are fixing the food now.
Yeah.
Because they need food the same
Yes.
day
Yes.
as they become
Right.
case contact, so they can't go out and buy themselves. How are you planning to change or improve the system? Because it's already good.
Yes.
Because you took it for catastrophe. You took it from 100 a day down to 10 a day.
Yes.
What are the next things you want to change now?
It's to reverse that and restore the confidence and the hope and build the trust, engaging with local communities, engaging with stakeholders, and ensuring that we have a response that can respond in a timely fashion. And we're talking about making practical field decisions, moving case investigators, contact tracers, psychosocial together, generate full lists, have the full return to the family in a timely fashion, providing them psychosocial support, working with local leaders, supporting local leaders and building the transport, working on a feedback system, with the fact that we're not going to have case investigator working closely with us and the data unit, and ensuring that they have feedback in a timely fashion as to the status of their relatives, those in the ETU, and even lab results.
Your people, the tracers, how many are they? How many people do you have who go and visit these contacts?
And in Monserrado County, we have 305 tracers, 22 supervisors, covering all 22 zones in Monserrado County.
And they have to be like detectives almost.
Yeah.
But then you say they have to be kind also.
Yes.
They have to think about the family.
Yes. So it's always a critical issue because they are there. They see them as us representing the system because they are the ones there the first time. If there's a death in the family, someone becomes sick, they are the first, and they have to be the ones to go there every day for 21 days. So yes, they have to be kind, they have to be empathetic, but also they have to be detective. They have to be able to see through them and know those who have been honest and those who are not saying the truth, and they have to do further investigation to find all contacts. In this epidemic, you can, there's no room for error. You need to find 100% contacts, so they have to do the both. But can at the same time being detective to find out all of the contacts.
And you never use force. I mean, you don't threaten people, and it's just their free will. That
Yes, they have. Yes, sir. We encourage the free will. Even when they started the concept of quarantine, we always say quarantine should be done by the communities. You shouldn't get the police involved. It should be done. It should be involved for discussion. There's a consensus building. It's so important because the fear we always have is that if you use force, they could escape. If you put them on undue pressure, so it has to be a friendly approach, a community-based approach.
You look like a very tough guy. You know, that is what's impressed me, you know. I've seen, you know, you almost rush out from the morning meetings, you know. And then when you argue, you talk like a nun. You are very kind to people. And this is probably the most important, yeah, to be empathetic, you say.
I think so, yeah.
Now, but you have 2 types of problems. One is that you don't get the contacts listed. They are hidden, some of them. And the other is that the contacts who get sick, they leave because they don't want to be identified as sick. What is the reason why they don't get listed in the beginning?
In the beginning of the epidemic, there was a couple of factors. One of them was that the burial team picked up the body and we did not have the contact list coming to us in a timely fashion. Some of them rode commercial vehicles, private ambulances, and went to ETUs. And those data was now collected and sent back as a feedback. The land list was now sent to begin contact tracing. That was one.
And that means that the list for them. And of course, when they had someone who had died at home, that was a very emotional and very sad moment. Right. It's not an easy time then to remember them.
Exactly, and to ask them about contacts and all of those kind of questions. It's an emotional period. That stage is critical. You can build friendship, you can build empathy, and then they can reveal to you. By that time, they're in a tough period.
Yeah. So now you are going to have a system whereby those which we call case investigators who just take care of the information of the sick, and your contact tracers which list the contacts, and the ambulances and the burial cars, they will be one system.
Yes, I'm hoping yes. So they can make practical field decision, because most of the time we lost the contact when the case in time past, when the case investigator does the investigation and land listing, between that and the data unit and coming back to the tracer, there was a delay in time. And so some of the contact listing got lost. But if there is a field level decision where the investigator does the investigation, the contact tracer takes the land listing and initiates investigation immediately. In that case, we'll be very convinced that every case that we've seen and we've gone through that we have the contact listed and they have follow up.